Some of the most burnt out doulas I know were actually the most fully booked. And that creates a really uncomfortable question for our industry because we tend to celebrate being fully booked as the ultimate sign of success. But after years in birth work and building a doula collective, I've started to see something very different. Being fully booked is sometimes the first sign that a doula's business structure isn't working. Now, at first, that sounds strange because in most industries, more clients usually means the business is doing well. But birthwork is different. This work requires emotional presence, physical availability, and long periods of being on call, which means the number of clients you take on has a direct impact on your quality of life. And that's where a lot of doulas start running into trouble. But here's where the conversation gets interesting. In the doula world, we have created this unspoken benchmark. If you're fully booked, you're successful. You'll see doulas posting things like booked through October, turning clients away. And on the surface, that looks like growth. But the real question we don't often ask enough is, booked under what conditions? Because if your schedule is constantly unpredictable, you're attending births back to back with very little recovery time, if your pricing hasn't caught up with the labor you're doing, then what you've built might not actually be a business. It might just be a very demanding workload. And this is where I see a lot of doulas quietly struggling. Many doulas start this work because they care deeply about supporting families. But the structure of their business evolves around availability instead of sustainability. So the model becomes, take a client, stay on call, attend the birth, repeat. Over time, that cycle starts to compound. You're working nights, your schedule is constantly shifting, and because birthwork is so personal, it can feel difficult to step back or set limits. So what ends up happening is that the business becomes completely dependent on you, your energy, your time, your presence. And eventually, that level of dependency becomes very hard to maintain. Which leads me to a shift I think every doula eventually has to make. There is a difference between operating as a worker in your business and operating as an owner. When you're in a worker mindset, the focus is usually on activity. More bookings, more clients, more work. But when you begin thinking like an owner, the question starts to change. Instead of asking, how many clients can I take? You start asking something different. What kind of business can actually support me long term? That shift changes everything. Because once you begin thinking that way, you start paying attention to things like capacity. How many births can you realistically support each month? How much time do you need between clients to stay grounded? What level of care do you want to provide? These questions start shaping the structure of the business itself. And this is where business starts to look very different. A sustainable doula business isn't about how many clients you have. It's about whether the business can support the life you're trying to build. That might mean fewer clients with more intentional pricing. It might mean creating stronger systems. For some doulas, it might even mean building a collective so the work isn't carried by one person alone. Because the goal isn't to see how busy you can become. The goal is to stay in this work for years without losing yourself in the process. So when we talk about being fully booked, the real question isn't just how many clients you have. The real question is whether your business structure actually supports you. Because if it doesn't, Being fully booked can quickly turn into being overwhelmed. I am curious about your experience. If you're a doula watching this, do you feel like you are currently operating more like a worker in your business or an owner? Let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in building a sustainable doula business, that's exactly what we talk about on this channel. Bye.